Welcome back. It is right now an open secret that President Bola Tinubu has finally declared a state of emergency in Rivers State and suspended Governor Signalai Fubara Manuel and all members of the Rivers State House of Assembly. Joining me to talk about happenings in the state and by extension the state of the nation is Professor Abubarkar Ibrahim, who is a political analyst. You're welcome to the show, Prof.
Yeah, thank you and good morning.
All right, Prof. First, what do you make of the political situation in Rivers State as it stands right now and the president's decision to suspend a sitting governor that is duly elected by the people?
Well, we have to take it from dimensions. The crisis in Rivers State has been there for almost 2 years, since 2023. No forms of mediation has come out of it because it is a PDP, APC affair, but mainly PDP affairs. Nobody has been reprimanded. No form of mediation has been done by the presidency whatsoever. Instead, it has been somebody hijacking the judiciary, which is also run by the presidency, and leave the state in its own gap just because I will deliver the whole state to you in 2027. Coming into it and what has happened of recent, you now look at it as an issue of interest. What is the presidency interest in Rivers? And who is the peddler of this crisis? The peddler of the crisis is the minister of the FCT. What have you done to reprimand him? Is the minister of FCT bigger than the whole of Rivers State? The answer is no. So if it's not bigger than the whole of Rivers State, what is supposed to be done? Then coming back to the emergency, if the pipeline has not spilled or got blast, which has some special interest of Mr. President, I don't think the emergency will take place.
So, Prof, you're saying invariably that it was due to the fact that there was a bomb blast that led the president to invoke chapter and section 305 of the Constitution, even though some constitutional lawyers have come out to say that the decision of the president is not in tandem with the constitutional provision right now.
When you say the Nigerian oil and gas pipeline, what is the interest of Mr. President on that pipeline? Who are the contractors? Who brought these contractors? What is the major stake on that project? Then we can start discussion from there. So, ever before he became the president, was he having anything, partnership to do with that pipeline? Or has any stake on that pipeline project? So why would somebody come to blow it off now? So it's a subject of interest.
Well, yeah, Prof, but again, looking at this whole conversation, to an extent, we've seen no group have come out to claim responsibility for the vandalization of the pipeline. No group have come out to say that we take responsibility for this.
No.
It could be mechanical error. It could have been a human error. It could have been anything would have caused the pipeline to explode. And this is not the first time a pipeline is exploding even across the country.
Very good.
So why the haste, or what, in your own opinion, why the sudden haste, even for the presidency to want to all of a sudden declare state of emergency in Rivers State when there are other ways of addressing the pipeline vandalism? Even if coming from the point of the NSCDC, the Nigerian Civil Defense Corps, you have spoken to them to carry out an investigation to know what transpired.
It is not an issue of what's transpired. Guys, have you ever stayed where somebody is being blackmailed? Mr. President is being blackmailed by so many people in his own cabinet.
Okay.
And these blackmailers are using every trick to make sure they blackmail him. Till he shake off these blackmailers, these internal blackmailers, he will remain vulnerable till the end of his tenure. There are people who will not succumb to blackmail, but he has already succumbed to blackmail, and he remains that person who has succumbed to blackmail till the end of his tenure.
So what do you mean by blackmail, Prof? What do you imply?
You see, in psychology, there is what we call a psychiatric harry, meaning that you are half-baked and proved to be a specialist. That is the position of Mr. President. And when you are half-baked, the other person comes down and hit a hammer on you, and that is what they are doing to him. The security perspective is that I can make you discomfort because I know some part of you. And that part of you will reflect in you every day till you take it off. As a president, he has not been able to take himself as president and not just a candidate. The day he recognizes that he's a president and not just a candidate, he will be able to take decisions that will move this nation forward.
So invariably, you're saying, Prof, that the president is being forced by his own cabinet.
Yes, most of the things that are happening are his cabinet. When somebody blackmail you to a spot where you don't have a decision of your own, accept that decision of that person in the premises that we are there for you in 2027, then you are already doomed.
All right, Prof, let's even move the conversation a bit further. Let's look at it from the security angle, which you have even rightly mentioned. The security agencies have not come out to say we have carried out AYZ investigation to arrive at certain conclusion that this particular group are responsible for whatever is happening in Rivers State. And if this is not properly curtailed, it could escalate into we having a near state collapse in Rivers State. We've not gotten that report. Even the president has not openly said that from the findings of the security operative, which is relying on, we've seen the president invoke certain section of the constitution right now. Is there no fear right now that this will further escalate the political tension and security foundation of Rivers State as it stands right now?
Well, that is left for the River State people because they have chewed and made themselves look like weaklers. And from the security program and processes we have in the country, the president rely on one person, and that one person is already a bought over. It's one of those who blackmail him. So if you are the national security advisor and the coordinator, the security coordinator of a nation, and you have the listening ear of somebody who is already eccentric, there is no way that any other security principles and concepts will work. The only two people he listened to is the National Security Advisor and the Inspector General of Police. The Inspector General of Police, who is supposed to have been retired since last year, but remain in office because there is a goose of Mr. President appoints me, and I have to sit down on that appointment till the day he decides to ask me to go, who is one of the blackmailers, and also the National Security Advisor, who is one of his blackmailers. So these two people spell whatever decision Mr. President takes on national security issues, without looking at the concept and principles of security as supposed to be applied. When this is not applied, what we see today is what we have to see. So its major problem in the security network as at today is the National Security Advisor and the Inspector General of Police.
So what's the fate of the people of River State right now? If the two elephants are fighting, it's coming from your house and all of this discombobulations.
To me, I will not want to say this is the fate of River State people. But if I want to advise, I would say the River State people should continue with their business or governance and forget whatever has happened. Remember that in 16th of May 2013, the same president who is Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as a former governor of Lagos State, when Jonathan was imposing state of emergency in Adamawa, Borno and Yobe, came out and stated that Jonathan has no right to impose state of emergency in Adamawa, Borno and Yobe, because the people of Adamawa, Borno and Yobe voted for the governor for the state assembly, not the president Jonathan. So when the people elected the state members, you as a president has no right over them. Can you put a state of emergency in Nigeria when Tinubu is the president?
Or governor, you mean?
When he's a president, even as a president, are we not having security challenges all over the country? From Zafara, KB, Castina, everywhere, even in the southeast. Has anybody imposed a state of emergency in Nigeria? So do we use this as a measure to say, Mr. President, you can't act. Go back home. Let somebody who has the capacity to act and come back after 6 months.
Well, that sounds rhetorical, Prof. Because
no, but that is the issue. They didn't vote for Tinubu in Rivers. They vote for Fubura. They vote for the deputy governor. It was not an election of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It was not a presidential election that brought them in. Remember, he won Rivers State in the presidential election, which was APC. But the same people, after voting for the presidential election where he won, voted for PDP for the governors. So why didn't they say the candidate of APC must win the state?
Well, Prof, it's a very, very complicating scenario. Even at that.
There is no complication. We make so many things complicated for ourselves because we don't want to follow the burden of the truth. The judiciary is compromised. We don't have judiciary in Nigeria. We don't have a political party. We have a political platform. We don't have an executive. We don't have the legislators. You will never see any senator or House of Rep member that is going to speak on this issue. Never.
And
That's what they have been brought over.
they said they're in the know. The president has already informed them about the decisions.
What decision? Was it debate? At what point did they debate it in the House?
It should be discussed today.
How can you impose state of emergency already before you debate? No, where has it ever happened that the legislators has not debate on a state of emergency in the assembly, and you have already imposed it, and you are now saying you are going to do debate? Where did you see? Why do we apply a system where there is already election before you are campaigning? You take a decision has been taken and you are now campaigning. After somebody has won election, that is when you are campaigning. How does this two scenario work out?
All right, so Prof, let's even talk in terms of the retrospective effect of this whole stuff in Rivers State as it stands right now. Let's go back and look at some of the things that have happened in Rivers State. Of course, said there's no smoke without fire. A lot of people have pointed the FCT minister as the smoke behind the fire of Rivers State. But first, do you agree with the submission that the Rivers State crisis is largely influenced by the person of Nyesom Wike?
Whether Nyesom Wike or no Nyesom Wike, to me, Nyesom Wike is not even an issue. To me, the only back I know, if I check his background very well, was when he was in the university and the Kaponto Ayek fraternity. That is all I know about him. To me, he says talk. He says trash. It's nothing to write home about. Intellectually, protectors, ideas, ideology, he lack all. He's not supposed to be a leader. How can somebody who was a court member, a confraternity member right from university days, if not for Nigeria, going by security scrutiny, how does he become the governor of a state and even a minister? How?
But Prof, are we saying this for a fact?
I am saying it categorically. He was there. He knows all the things he did as a member of Ayaka fraternity. And he cannot deny to that fact. So, these kind of people who comes to power, who is propelling them? Because it's not on his own. He can't stand on his own and not tell everybody in Rivers that they can be pockets. No matter the influence or whatever he has in his pocket. And how did he make what he has in his pocket? On riding on the back of the people? Can he tell me that the entire of his family ever had 1 million naira when he was in the university? What is his background? So, but because we don't check this before we say they are leaders, we just take it as one of them, of those things. But in truth and perspective, if he's not having those, you can't be bold to speak when you are not matched with what you are saying. So he has people who are backing him. He's one of those blackmailers too.
Prof, the way you put in the blackmailers in category and taxonomizing them is quite interesting. You started off from the NSA, then you moved to the IGP, and now we are at the FCT minister. But then the conversation again is that Wike, if at all he was a part of this blackmailers, like you've rightly said, and all of this, he has, to a very large extent, or to some extent, they've said that Wike is fueling the crisis, has been fueling the crisis in Rivers State. But now
he cannot fuel the crisis in Rivers State without being aided. He's being aided. If I'm doing something wrong and somebody reprimand me, I will stop doing it. But when somebody is supporting my wrongs, I will continue.
So, as it stands right now, when the president is quiet about some of the things that Oyetola in Osun State is doing to the good people of Osun State by disrupting their what we call it, local government elections in Osun State, and we've seen Yeso Wike almost replicating the same thing. Does this mean that the president quiet is giving a nod and supporting some of these actions by his ministers or political appointees?
You mean Adeleke?
Ayatollah of Osun State. Adeleke is the governor of Osun State. We have Ayatollah that is with President Tinubu right now. But some of the happenings in Osun State, in terms of political tension that we have in Osun State, has been said to be fueled by Ayatollah to a very large extent. And we've seen him come out to tell the local government to chairman to occupy.
Oyetola, Aresibola, who was the former governor of Osun State, they are all candidates of Tinubu. And Tinubu has special interest in Osun, and I will not give the reason why he has special interest in Osun today. But the special interest in Osun by Tinubu is the backing that Oyetola has in Osun. So from the Araile angle to the angle where we have today is the special interest of Mr. President.
So invariably the president's silence right now, can we say that the president being silent on the case of Oyetola and that of Wike is giving a nod to the political disruptions in
because Wike has the backing of Mr. President. He feels that he's a semi-commander-in-chief of the armed forces and even semi-security power of the presidency. So that is what is acting on.
All right, so Prof, let's take the conversation back to the people of Rivers State right now. Suspension for 6 months. Automatically, it means that there will be no new laws in Rivers State. So even an emergency, Rivers State people will have to rely on the federal government to help them make certain laws to help them pass through that stage. Do you think this is politically healthy for the people of Rivers State?
Maybe you have not understand what has happened. Who is the administrator appointed for Rivers?
The Ibok.
Ibok is who? The former chief of
Staff.
Naval Staff.
Yeah.
And what is the relationship between Ibok and Tinubu? And why must he be a retired military chief? And what is the position of Port Harcourt or Rivers State to the Naval? NN Pathfinder, NN Onne, and the rest. So it is just saying, why didn't he bring a civilian to become the administrator? Maybe a retired permanent secretary also. It's because they want to amass the people of Rivers. Because Ibrahim just left as chief of Naval Staff, he still has his voice and his command. So that is just what is happening. So the Rivers people, the springing fear in them is a fiat of fear, driving fear into them to make sure that what they planned to happen should happen. So in 2027, they take a decision, they do whatever they want to do, and that is just all. All these are just for 2027.
Are you sure, Prof?
That is my take.
All right. Fantastic take, Prof. Still on Rivers State, state of emergency in Rivers State. Looking at it from all angles of the conversation, the Ijaw people have come out to say that they form the majority ethnic group in Rivers State, and as such, they've attributed the bombing to some of the threats that they've posed to the federal government, saying we were the to come out to say that if anything happens to Fubara, should Fubara be impeached, Nigeria, and especially President Tinubu, will be shocked by what they would do in that instance. But let's look at this majority and minority issues in Rivers State. The suspension, will it be to the development of Rivers State, or do you perceive it to be for the development of the people of Rivers State?
Let me come to Ijo. Ijo is not a majority in any state in Nigeria. They are nomadics because they are fishermen, so they follow the water trade. There are minorities in
riverine communities?
Yes. Ondo, minorities in Edo, minorities in Delta, minorities in Rivers, minorities in Akwa Ibom, and even some part of Lagos. So when you want to take it up, you find out that they are minorities in most of the sections of the states. Even in Lagos, they are there in Lagos. So if you go to places like Ikorodu, go to some part of Badagry, the Ijos are there. When you are coming from Ojo area to Badagry, they are there. So there are minorities everywhere. Where there are majorities, you can call them majorities, it's just Bayelsa. So anybody taking it as there are minorities and majorities in Rivers, I don't agree, because the Ogoni man, the Opobo man, and some other areas.
The map is very visible. The map has shown that to a very large extent the Ijaw people have taken a larger percentage of the.
No, the Opobo man does not understand what the Okrika person speak. Let us not call it Ijaw. That is the mistake we have made all over the years.
Okay.
So what the Okrika person speak is different from what the Opobo person speak. It's only people who have not studied Nigeria that will come and say, all these script are Ijaws. The ethnicity, dialects separate a lot of these people. Even when the Ijaw person in Okrika speaks, the data Ijaw don't understand.
Okay, so
because of the dialects. It's just like when you come to say Fulanis, a lot of people say Fulanis are this, but the Fulani person in Kano speaking, that of Adamawa don't understand. Even when the Fulani in places like Bauchi speaks, the Adamawa Fulani don't understand. And when the Kano Fulani speaks, the Sokoto Fulani don't understand.
But they are all Fulanis.
Yes.
So we can taxonomize them as Fulanis.
Yes.
So in this case, we can taxonomize the Ijaws as.
We can. That is why I tell people that because they don't know Nigeria, they come with ethnicity and everybody wants to answer to Fulani. They forget that we have the Fufude, the Fube. We are not supposed to call ourselves Fulanis any longer. But because of that sense of belonging, everybody claim I am Fulani. I tell people that Igbo as Igbo are minorities. Yoruba as Yoruba are minorities. Hausa are minorities. Because we have the Hausa Bokwe and Baza Bokwe. And if we atomize it, Hausa is minority in the north. And if you atomize it very well, Igbo is minority, because the real Igbo that we know as Igbo, there are no more than 6 to 8 local governments in the whole of this east.
Okay, so Prof, in this case where we have the Afro-Asiatic speaking people of the Niger Delta, which let's taxonomize them to be Ijaw people. They've accepted their fate that they're Ijaw, of course, because they are close to the riverine area. Now you are trying to go to demystify the ethnic diversity.
Because that is why a lot of people are still fighting here to tell you that they are marginalized as Igbos. They are marginalized as Hausas. They are marginalized as Yorubas. Whereas the Egba man is not a Yoruba man. The Jebu man is not a Yoruba man. The Awori man is not a Yoruba man. The Saka man is not a Yoruba man. Let us not give ourselves headache to say claim majority where there is no majority. In Nigeria, to me, everybody is from the minorities.
Prof, we'll come back to this ethnographical structure of Nigeria and also trying to find a balance around it. But this River State, as it stands, let's say this are Ijaw people, although you said they don't form the majority, that everybody is a minority in the country.
Everybody is a minority.
All right. So this action by the Tinubu's administration, do you think that it will further bring development and progress to the good people of River State?
No, it's not bringing any development. Rather, we are going to have crisis that we cannot manage. We have not been able to manage what has happened in Odi, in Bayelsa State. It will take us time to rebuild Borno. We need psychologists, let's say, let the crisis in Zamfara, Katsina, and all the security crisis ends today. We still have to put all these people and rebuild them psychologically to become more human. So there is no way we are going to get out of this crisis where in River State we just start building crisis. We don't know how to manage crisis. The security agencies have not been trained on crisis management, even conflict resolutions, mediation. The security organizations are not been trained on this. So when you have not been trained on crisis management and you are fomenting more crisis in the name of the people, do you think anybody that will be killed in rivers today, the children are going to forgive and grandchildren are going to forgive the government tomorrow or the leadership tomorrow? No. What Wike has done is, if Wike dies today, his children are finished. His family is finished. That is what he's not thinking of. You should be a man that has developed templates and built legacies that you can come out tomorrow, and when they see your children and grandchildren, they will say that is that man's children. But in a situation where you look at everybody from head to toe and makes them meaningless and makes yourself a semi-god, you are building that legacy for your children and your grandchildren. So Wike has come to a point where his children will come to rivers and they will be ridiculed. You are a Wike son, and so what? Today he has all the security apparatus, yes. His children also enjoy that security apparatus. His family, immediate family, enjoy that security apparatus. But the moment he leaves, that ends it all. I will give you an example. I was in the same flight with Modibo, who was the minister of FCT. He was announced to be removed as the minister. We were in the same flight. We arrived at Abuja airport together. No vehicle to pick him. All those security, it's not as if he has handover. He was outside the country when the announcement was made to have removed him and replaced. I'm telling you, no driver came to pick him at the airport. It ends there immediately. And so you should know that the security apparatus you have today, the moment you leave that office, it's okay. If you die, it's finished. And that reflects on your children and family. The moment we know and rethink that what we are doing here reflects on our family, on our children, that is when we will understand how to build legacies and bring logical ideas that will rebuild the system or impact on the system. But the moment you make yourself that you are a hall of flame, then you make yourself, you will unrope yourself, delete yourself without anybody reflecting on it.
Well, Prof, I really want us to have more of this conversation, but I've been signaled right that our time is a fast spent. I want to say thank you so much, Professor Ibrahim Abubarkar, for finding our time to be with us today on Global Morning.
Thank you very much, and you are welcome.
All right, we'll go for a short break, and when we come back, more conversation even on Global Morning. Please stay with us.